Welcome to Gideon Grammar Booklet Level 1I, where the student should complete 2 pages each day. In this book, the student will learn subject-verb agreement, abbreviations, syllables, and contractions. Our first concept is subject-verb agreement, and the rule for this is that we have to make sure that the subject of the sentence agrees with the verb that's being used. This reference chart can be found at the beginning of your booklet on the explanation pages. Use this when working through this booklet to help you. So let's go ahead and look at subject-verb agreement with linking verbs. In case you need a little reminder, linking verbs that we are working with are am, is, are, was, and were. This is where you can find the linking verb section on your reference chart on the explanation pages. Here's an example. Let's say we're talking about this boy's hat. So we'll call it his hat. Well, his hat is what we're talking about, so that's the subject of the sentence. But we want to describe the subject of the sentence with more information about it. So we need to be able to link these two parts of the sentence together. So notice that we're talking about one hat. It's singular, only one. So that means we are limited to how many linking verbs we are able to use. So since this boy is wearing the hat now, we need to use our present tense linking verbs, which are am, is, and are. So let's go ahead and try each one in each sentence and see which one works. First, let's try am. His hat am big and blue. This does not work, so we know we can go ahead and eliminate am. His hat is big and blue. Well, that could work, so let's go ahead and leave that in question. And lastly, his hat are big and blue. Well, this definitely does not work. So we know that is the correct linking verb that we need to use. His hat is big and blue. Here's another example. Here we have the subject, the boy, and more information about the subject is very happy. So the boy and very happy need to be linked. Now we need to use a linking verb. And again, we are limited to which ones we can use because we have a singular subject, meaning only one. Now notice that in the picture of the boy below, it says 2 weeks ago. So this was in the past, meaning that it already happened. So there are only 2 linking verbs that we can use, was or were. So let's go ahead and try each linking verb with the sentence and see which one works. The boy was very happy. Was. Well, was could work here. So let's go ahead and try the next linking verb. The boy were very happy. Well, this does not work, so we know that was is the linking verb that we need to use. The boy was very happy. Next, with subject-verb agreement, we have using the subject I. So let's say here's a picture of you, but you don't call yourself you call yourself I. So let's see how we would use a linking verb in a sentence with the subject I. So we want to link the subject I with more information about it. So we want to link I and very tall. So we need a linking verb. However, since this is happening now, we need to use a present tense linking verb, which is am, is, or are. This time we'll just say the examples out loud. So I am very tall. That could work. I is very tall. That would not work. And I are very tall, which would definitely not work. So we know that the answer is am. I am very tall. Also, be sure to remember that am is the only present tense linking verb that can agree with the subject I. Here's another example of you, but again, you don't call yourself you call yourself I. But notice below the picture it says 12 years ago, so this was in the past. So let's take a look at our past tense linking verbs. Our past tense linking verbs are was or were. So let's try each one in the sentence. I was very short. Well, that could work. I were very short. That does not work, so we know that was is the linking verb that we need to use. I was very short. Now we're going to talk about subject-verb agreement with a singular or plural subject, still using linking verbs. So in this example, we will compare singular and plural subjects with past tense linking verbs. So here we have one boy was very happy. One boy is singular, meaning only one. So was would be the correct linking verb to go with it. Next we have 2 boys, and this subject is plural, meaning more than one. So 2 boys were very happy. Were would belong with the plural subject. Next, we have subject-verb agreement with a singular or plural subject using action verbs. For an example, we are going to use the action verb walk. Here, one boy walks outside. Notice that one boy is singular, meaning only one, and walks has an S added to it. So add an S to the end of a verb that has a singular subject. Next, we have two boys walk. Notice that two boys is plural, meaning more than one, and walk does not have an S. So do not add an extra S to a verb with a plural subject. Moving on to our next concept, we have abbreviations. An abbreviation is a shortened version of a word or words. Many different words have abbreviations, including measurements of length, volume, time, street names, and cardinal directions. Here's an example of using abbreviations in a sentence. She lives on 131 North Elm Street. Now here we could make this sentence shorter by using periods to abbreviate words. So here we shortened the word north to N and street to ST with a period. Also, if a sentence ends with an abbreviation, an extra period is not needed to end the sentence. Our next concept is syllables. A syllable is a word that is naturally divided when the word is said. Each divided part has its own vowel sound. The first rule is to split double consonants. Let's look at the word cherry, for example. In the word cherry, there are two R's back to back, which is what we would call a double consonant. So here, you're supposed to split double consonant letters to make syllables. Rule number 2 is to split compound words. A compound word is a word made up of two smaller words, like the word snowman, for example. If we split snowman up into two smaller words, we have snow and man, which when put together make snowman, a totally different word. So when we split snowman up into syllables, we end up with snow and man. So remember to split compound words. Our last concept is contractions. A contraction is the shortened version of a word or words that uses an apostrophe in place of missing letters. So let's use they are, for example. So if we were to form a contraction with they are, we simply remove the A and place an apostrophe in place of where the missing letter is. Here's another example, it is. If we were to form a contraction with it is, we would end up removing the I and replacing the I with an apostrophe. Now, when some words form a contraction, they change completely, like will not. Will not combines to won't with an apostrophe between the N and the T. You can see how this changed completely. So will not becomes won't. And just to show you how a contraction can shorten a sentence, here's an example. Margot will not eat her dinner becomes Margot won't eat her dinner.